I don't often talk about the work that I do, not in detail, because I believe that the people that I work with, the clients that I have, they deserve some kind of confidentiality, and I don't want anyone, not that it would be possible, but to draw inferences and think, oh yeah, I know that, or anybody who is watching that may be a part of that client team then realize what I'm talking about. But this one I have to share because it was ridiculous. We're going to call this manager Chernobyl, and this manager has a team of assistants. And oh Jesus, it's just like, take the wheel. When you do not appreciate the roles that you have within your organization, within your company, and then you allow someone to just go off and roll with it, you don't understand how much you feed their toxic ways. And this is why I'm going to call the manager Chernobyl, because this is the highest level of toxicity that I have come across. Not even in a long while I've ever come across. It's ridiculous. So there's two incidents. First incident is that there's already an existing meeting in a calendar, and someone has come along within another part of the organization and put in a meeting. And then through training of assertiveness and just how to manage a calendar, I have spoken to the assistant and I have said, decline. Because this is the reason why you have to teach people calendar etiquette if they don't already have it. And a lot of people are lacking common sense. This is the reason. If there is a meeting in the calendar and you want another meeting at the same time, yet you don't give any kind of explanation, you know that the person has an assistant, then call the assistant, because that's what the assistant is for. The assistant is just not to blindly book things into a calendar. They should have the knowledge of what the meetings, the general gist of what the meetings are about, whether they are important and they have to go ahead, or they're not and they can be flexible. If not, they will speak to the owner, the name on the calendar, because I always say that I was the owner of calendars when I was managing them. It just happens to be in somebody else's name. If they don't have assistant, then you speak directly to the person, whether that's an email, you pick up the phone, but you find out, because the time that you want has been taken. You don't just throw meetings in the calendar. That's number one. So when the advice is, or the instruction is to decline, not with fluffy language, just say that state the obvious, because clearly they couldn't see it. There is a conflict. Move this meeting to a different time. Thank you. It's not rude. It's direct. It's assertive. It's not going to work. For Chernobyl then to turn around and call a meeting and say, well, you can't say things like that. You need to be careful of relationships and you need to be, in short, fluffy. No. Why do you suddenly believe that because you're in a support role, you need to be bending backwards to accommodate everyone? It doesn't, not in every sense of the word. You are flexible, but you are not. Trying to choose my words carefully, because I tell you, as a person who doesn't swear, it just seems to want to roll off my tongue right now with this toxic person. Let's move on. So after that little conversation, to which I am to observe, and I will give my rulings to the powers above Chernobyl at some point, which again, common sense, you would think, but I like this, you're comfortable, you are being yourself around me. It's not I don't even think 2 hours had passed, and the same assistant has put a placeholder in a calendar because they are dealing or liaising with an external client. They've offered a time, they have copied in another assistant and waiting for that external person to come back and confirm. The assistant has gone for lunch, come back, and the hold has been removed, and then there's just a very curt email. Don't put anything in the calendar. And Chernobyl, just to prove the point, you have gone and put an internal meeting into the slot where there was an external hold. And then you have farmed out the work of getting someone else to liaise with the external person to find an alternative time after they have come back and confirmed that that's okay and sent a meeting request or invitation, however you want to phrase it. Toxic. See, going into companies and organizations is enjoyable because you get to see how people work. It keeps me relevant rather than just being in this little bubble that you see me in, because I'm never taking you outside. That gives me anxiety. But then I have to try and remember that sometimes, especially in situations like this, like, how far have we come? How much time has passed? And how experienced am I? And I'm still seeing the same toxicity that's going through. And because there is this kind of status hierarchy level of what those at the top think is important, they are missing the little seeds that are developing until it's not ego, it's definitely arrogance, and unpleasant behaviour is out of control. To the point that when you have someone external come in to assess and review, you can't even hide it anymore. It is very sad. It's sad for the people that have to deal with that day in, day out. It's sad for the company or the organisation that is saying, you know what, we are standing for this. But then you have those mouldy seeds inside that are infecting everybody else. Because either they get tired, they resign, they move on. But the fight has gone. It's like there's no point. I'm just so glad that they called me. I don't think I'm going to give you any more updates on Chernobyl. I'm going to burn some oil and calm myself. But I had to share that. That's like a rare insight into what I do. I should finish off with a CTA, I suppose. If you actually need a review, if you need someone to come in and observe and see what's going on, or provide some kind of administrative training and make your staff more assertive, then I can offer those services. And I will stand up against the Chernobyls in this world. I can't even get my words out now. We're done.